Hello folks and welcome to the Vertigo Tea Party, and let's try Karaski, What Goes Up. It's developed by Unbound Creations. It's coming sometime in October 2015. It's going to be available on PC, but eventually maybe might show up on Linux and Mac as well. That's not 100% certain though. Price is to be determined. It's also going to have a Steam Greenlight campaign later on. Again, date undetermined. I will have links to the official website, all their social media, all of that good stuff in the video description below, so make sure to check that out if you're interested. I will also be updating the link to the Steam Greenlight once that has started, so again, keep an eye on it. Also, full disclosure here, two things. I did get a free press copy of the game to show it off to you folks today in this video. Also, I have worked with this developer in the past. I did some unpaid voice work for a trailer they did for another game, one called Postmortem, and I also did some voice work for a trailer that's still a work in progress for this game. So just wanted to get that out there. I've already actually beaten the game. I started a second game. I'm not very far in, so let's load it up. So what's this game about? Well, first off, it's a game about choices. And your choices can affect the story and how people react to you and what happens within the story. And this will make a little bit more sense a little bit later on. I'm just past start. I'm like 5 minutes in. Basically, you're on the world's first airship, technological marvel. And as things tend to do, especially in video game land, things have gone wrong. You wake up, all you know that equipment has been sabotaged. You have no recollection of how it happened. You don't know why you're down here with it. You're pretty sure you didn't do it, but you can't be sure. So you're investigating what's causing that. So we need to go to the normal deck. There's 4 different decks that we can visit, and we need to start investigating. Oh, we need to look out. Oh, this person's coming at us quick. Hello there. That's you coming from the lower decks. Oh, and you must be mistaken. I think it's pretty obvious that that was me. Yes, that was me. I see. A fellow seeker of the real truth. That's good to know. Let's see. Let's be secretive. We don't know what's going on. We don't know who we can trust. This time, I was a little bit more open with her last time. I'm going to be a little more secretive this time. Let's be a little curt. We're going to play our guys a little secretive and a little jerky. I think we're done here. Oh, forgive me. I should have introduced myself. I'm Jean Sinclair, reporter from Gal Media Inc. Let's try to get rid of her. Great. See you later. Oh, come on now. We barely just met. So tell me, whom were you gathering information for? No one. Perhaps I can make your voice heard then. I use the latest electron relay communication device to send my reports back to the folks at Gal Media. Can take more than a day all the way up from here, but it works. You see, it hasn't escaped my attention. Something isn't quite right on this ship. Rumors of a sabotage are slowly spreading. I'm trying to uncover this mystery and implore your help in any way possible. I'm going to say I don't like to spread gossip. Oh, please, it's not mere gossip. I look for it's the facts. If you keep me informed, I'll do the same. I think we can help each other a lot and unravel this mystery. I'm going to say not interested. I won't pressure you, but we're both after the same thing. Truth. If you speak to other passengers, get an idea who might be involved, come and tell me. I'll be around. So, depending on how you talk to people, this is just basically telling us about being spotted and stuff like that, and I'll talk about that kind of on our own later on. But depending on what you say to people and how you react to them, and if they catch you doing things or being in places you shouldn't be in, it's going to affect not only how that person in particular reacts to you, but how all the crew will as well. Now, room 3 is our room, and we'll note this guy of shorter stature goes into room 1. Obviously, we're not supposed to go into other rooms. We use typewriters to save, so I'll go ahead and save. Anything anything that glows, you can interact with. There's some money that I must have left in here. Money can be used for various things, like bribing folks or getting a little bit maybe extra information, things like that. So we talked to the radio. I don't think, yeah, we can't talk to the radio yet. We need more information. So let's start off by talking to people. I've been using, and just as far as controls go, I don't think there's controller support. Let me look. Yeah, I don't see anything. Well, it says Joy 1 axis, so maybe it does. I'm not 100% sure on that. But I'm using just WASD mouse controls. It's very standard PC controls. Left click is an action. Right click like cancels if you have an item out. Control or a... Now this is one thing I really like, and this might seem like a minor detail, but I really like it. C toggles crouch, so pressing it once will make you crouch, pressing it again stands you up. Control is a hold crouch, so if you just want to do it for a second, you can do it that way. Again, minor, but I like having both options, believe it or not. You can also read certain things that you find, like this: join your local preacher chapter today. Of course, that will make more sense as you play the game. There's Karaski, as you've learned. You talking to passengers. No spoiler here that he's like the engineer. He's the one who's the brains behind this flying technological marvel. I like the music as well. A lot of times I end up turning it off if I'm playing a bit more sneaky, because I need to be able to hear people's footsteps. There's newspapers that you can read. Let's talk to this guy so we can get an idea of how the dialogues work. And let's just be not very good with the social graces. Whoa, you're so short. Truly, what led you to such spectacular conclusion? Did you speak to me just to pester me about that? And it barks, too. I have no need for this insufferable likes of you. Be gone. Fine, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to insult you. Then perhaps you better watch your tongue from now on. Who you are? Just a fellow passenger? Let's be secretive. How wonderfully ambiguous. I bet you're also on some special mission you can't talk about. Something like that. Aren't you a special snowflake? Well, just because you do not have the courtesy to introduce yourself does not mean I don't. I'm Andre Wadlow, trader, tinkerer, and collector. We're not going to be a total jerk. I'm afraid if I'm a total jerk, it'll cut off too many options. I think some people actually react more to you being kind of sassy. They'll actually react to you a bit more positively, but I'm going to guess most people don't. In my last playthrough, I was a little bit more on the nice side. Trader. I travel across many of the Commonwealth states arranging trade agreements. Some folks need livestock, others require light bulbs. I make sure they all get what they need. Speaking of which, I'm on the lookout for a certain new technological invention to add to my collection, or pass off to my richer clients. What kind of inventions? Portable toasting device used for quickly warming up bread, an ERC communication device, spark zap machine. What are those devilish tools? They're not devilish tools, just the fruits of modern technological progress. Rumor has it that the latest prototype of color photograph camera is being transported on this ship. You wouldn't happen to be the one who brought it on board. Nope, sorry. That's unfortunate. I'm very keen on obtaining that piece for my own collection. Perhaps I could obtain it for you. Obtain? In what ways? You're not implying... Oh, but a good businessman does not question his partner's methods. If you do come into possession of it, do let me know. Now then, what else did you need? Now, here you can talk to them about the sabotaging of the ship. Let's see what he says here. I don't think I really want to get into this topic with you. I asked him about the sabotaging of the ship. I'm going to say why not. He says, I don't know you that well, and with the suspicion going around, I'd rather not get involved. So that is another important mechanic in this game. Let's go in here, and we'll go into the menus a little bit more. But I want to talk about your suspicion level. Suspicion level starts neutral. If you get caught doing things you aren't supposed to do, it starts to get into the red. Things like breaking into rooms, getting caught in areas you're not supposed to be, maybe saying things you shouldn't say, your suspicion level will go up. Doing other things can drop your suspicion levels, such as doing quests or doing things for people around the ship. That can actually drop your suspicion levels. And again, I'm going to be kind of vague on some things because a lot of this game is kind of just seeing things for yourself and not ruining it. And so I don't want to ruin that, I should say. You can also talk to the stewards. They don't really have much to say. They'll just say, I'm a steward, and then they'll say they're busy. And all they really do is walk around the ship. You know how that is. There's also these maps. You can just right-click on once, and you memorize it. Pretty handy. pretty standard stuff. He doesn't just give it to you to read them, but again, it's usually fairly easy to work your way around. Some of the lower decks can be a little confusing. So we're supposed to talk to the captain, and here he is. So let's go ahead and talk to him. As you meet all the suspects, you can keep track of what you learn in your investigation log, which we will do. So let's go ahead and talk to the captain of the ship as he slowly turns around. Hello, Mr. Tea Party. How do you know my name? I'm Captain Progmas... other way around. I'm the captain. Knowing the names of my ship's passengers is an aspect of my job I do not overlook. It's a pleasure to meet the person to whom the name belongs. I do not foresee myself forgetting you. You have very memorable features. Keep in mind, too, again, your suspicion levels will definitely affect how people react to you. Some people actually will react. I think again, I've only played through the one time, but from the dialogue, it sounds like some people will actually respond to you more positively if your suspicion level is high, because you're intriguing to them or you're very interesting or mysterious. So they want to interact with you more. But it seems like most people at least want you to be neutral or more in the green before they'll divulge more information than they normally would. For example, this captain, before I got caught several times breaking into rooms, he would not hardly talk to me at all. Now, there's also another interesting thing about this game is the way you answer questions. And again, this is kind of my understanding of what happened with my playthrough and from the description of the game. The way you answer questions and do things kind of affects, how can I say this? Affects the story itself. For example, if I say, because he mentioned how I had something memorable about me. So if I say something like, not many people wear a monocle, huh? Yes, I will certainly remember you. So other passengers will sometimes mention like your monocle. Things like that. That's pretty minor, but there are other elements, and again, I'm being vague on purpose. There's other elements that you can kind of influence by your actions. He's asking how I'm doing. I'm going to say, I'm fine. It's fine. I'm happy to hear your satisfaction. Nation's ingenuity can be judged by a single man's creation. To think that now man can soar through the sky as easily as he can float above the ocean. We're gonna flatter him. Think is a mighty vessel. The ship is just one of many ingenuities created in the noble nation Provis. Yet the Commonwealth claims it as its own. Their impetuousness will only last so much longer. Which doesn't sound foreboding at all. Forgive me, I did not intend to take up so much of your time. Did you have an issue? Let's see, nope, everything's great. Splendid. Let's say it's someone trying to sabotage the ship. Rumors should not be spread or heard. We are handling everything. In worst case, we have emergency protocols for cutting the trip short and landing in nearby swampy and dirty Makravi. An embarrassment to the Commonwealth's prowess, but it can always use a lesson in humility. Again, you're kind of getting the undertones that he's not a big fan of this Commonwealth. It will keep everyone informed for the safety of all aboard, however. Please do not leave the deck until the curfew is lifted. Understood. And let's say nothing for now. Also, you can find items just from looking around, going into rooms, or you just pick them up when you find them. There's not a ton of items, but things in particular that are important are alcohol. You can pick up alcohol, and if you share a drink with people, they will sometimes tell you more than they normally would have, even if they normally trust you. Also, at the beginning of the game, an important aspect is it asks you a question, like how do you tend to go about problem solving? And it's just telling me about the map there. So you can say things like, oh, I'm a talker, right? I can talk myself out of any situation. Or I'm a sneaky person. I like to, get past locks, things like that. And depending on your answer, you'll get an item that is going to help you. Now, that item is not the one you're stuck with throughout the whole game, which I was actually worried about. And again, avoiding spoilers, you're not locked into that one item forever. Also, one thing I do like quite a bit is that the game is pretty open. It's not like once you finish kind of what you need to do in one deck, you're cut off from that deck. If you see an area you couldn't access previously, you might be able to go back there later on with a new tool and access it. So I picked the option of being the sneak see thief. I'm going to go ahead and save here just in case something terrible happens. So let's start investigating a little bit more aggressively, shall we say. There's also medical, and there's more NPCs to talk to. The thing is, you know, there's definitely a lot of dialogue in this game, so you're going to be kind of talking and investigating, trying to put things together, trying to figure out basically who done it, like, right? Trying to decide, and keeping in mind it could be you as well. And at the bottom left, you can see the icon indicates that they can see me. So we want to get behind. Let's close this door. And luckily, just running around doesn't really raise their suspicions. Oh, that guy turned around. We're going to try to break into one of these rooms is what I'm doing, because I have the lockpicks. So he's walking that way. Sometimes you have to kind of like figure out how to time this. Alright, so he's going to be going. Now, if they catch you, I'm going to put that away. I don't know if just having that out will cause its suspicion, but it's not worth risking. Also, if you're like, I don't really like stealth games, this game tends to be pretty forgiving. For example, if there's somebody down at the end there, a lot of times they can't see me. The timing is just really bad. It's usually not this difficult to get into a room. And of course, he comes out right as I'm about to. I promise it's normally not this difficult. Getting out, on the other hand, takes a lot more. So let's go ahead and unlock this door. This takes a little while. Just hold left click. Now, just having the door open, no problem, as you would suspect. However, we're going to turn this off, the music, because it makes it harder to hear. And I kind of like that aspect, actually. So we're going to sneak in here. We're going to close the door. Now, we have the little circle with a slash at the bottom left. That indicates you're somewhere you're not supposed to be. If you get caught, you don't lose the game or whatever, but it raises your suspicions. So if they catch you, you don't want to do that, because again, generally having your suspicion levels raised is bad. So let's see what we can find. We find independent province. Unshackled from the Commonwealth, support the unification of all Proviacs and the secession from the Commonwealth. Join the Provisec Party today. So, without getting too much into the political aspect, long story short, there's the Commonwealth, which recently absorbed Provis. I think Provis, is that the name of it? Yeah, Provis. They recently absorbed them, basically, somehow. I don't know how. And there's a section of people who are faithful to old Provis who are like, we want to go back to being our own country. So there is that kind of tension going on there that does absolutely play effect in the game. And there's also a third faction, which I really won't go into too much, but they, depending on how you play, might play less or more of a role. So you also have these vents. And this is where your answer to the question comes in. The vents can only be used, you can only access those via other tools. Basically, there's 4 different items, I believe, that you can use to do all this stuff. And again, just because I didn't pick that tool now doesn't mean I can never go in that vent. Again, without going too much into it. So we're going to listen very quietly here and see if we can listen out for the talking. And also, there's this rumbling, obviously indicating something's wrong. And we're in carpet, so it's hard to tell. And you can lean. Okay, good. We managed to do that. Let's go. We barely made it. I would actually, especially if you're going to go this route, the sneaky route, where you're kind of breaking into people's rooms and doing things you maybe shouldn't be doing, being places you shouldn't be, I would suggest that you have, like, it would be advised to have headphones, because it's just much easier to hear. And especially the footsteps, like in areas like this where it's carpeted, it can be quite difficult to hear these guys walking around. I'm going to see if I can't break into the shorter statured guy's room. Now you can see this guy can't see me, right? Neither one of these two can see me. They can't see me. There we go. So it is pretty forgiving on the stealth aspect, because I think the developers understood that a lot of people don't necessarily like stealth, or maybe don't feel like they're very good at it. things like that. So it is nice that they thought about that. Let's actually break into one of these rooms when this guy leaves. We're just going to be completely inconspicuous. Oh, another thing you have to watch out for, these guys will react differently to you if your suspicion is high, making it more difficult to do some of the things that you might need to do to get more information. And keeping in mind, you don't have to get all this info to do some of these things, but it's going to help you make an informed decision later on, and kind of, again, help you with the detective work of figuring out exactly what happened. So you're going to find things like this. You're going to find notes and things that kind of tell you what's going on with the passengers, and it's kind of your job to figure out, okay, was this related or not? Also, notice that as I left that room, I'm trying to get into a position. Some doors can't be picked. Usually those are blocked for like story reasons, like you just haven't unlocked that yet. But as I was saying, notice how when I left the room, that for a second there was like that red circle at the bottom stayed for a little bit. That's to kind of simulate them seeing you walk out of the room all suspiciously. I'm pushing it here, not checking, because that one guy's probably going to come back here soonish. I don't know how long his patrol is, but when we go in here, we definitely want to close the door, grab this money, and I am going to actually intentionally get caught at some point real quick, just to show you what that's like. And there's some alcohol, and again, you want the alcohol because you can use that to speak with some of the NPCs. Actually, no, coming back in? No. Okay. All right. So, and there's other things like washrooms that you can investigate, and lots of, again, newspaper clippings, notes, things of that nature that you can read to learn what's going on. So let's go ahead and break into a room so that we get caught. Let's go down here. Again, I think they're smart enough to catch you if you're like actively breaking in. I'm not quite sure. I would think so, but let's go ahead and close that. There's also a safe, which I don't have the correct tools to get into. So you can see that depending on the item you chose initially, especially, it's going to, pretty drastically change how you go about checking things out. So let's go ahead and just open this up and be super obvious. Of course, he's not going to turn around now. Come on. Before, I'd always get caught, on accident. In some rooms, it can be a little tricky sometimes to kind of figure out which rooms are okay to be in and which ones aren't. Sometimes you just don't know until you go in. Like this room, initially, I was like, I don't know if that's safe or not, but they don't care. And again, you can always see from the logo at the bottom left for sure if it's okay. Also, let's go ahead and go in here. Oh, here we go. You've been spotted trespassing. All right, now, excuse me, I don't believe you should be going. You should be here. So here you can just say, oh, sorry, I was, lost. I thought this was my room. Or you can maybe pay him off, or maybe give him some liquor to say, hey, you know what? Let's forget this. Let's forget this ever happened, right? Oh, these are hard to come by with the curfew. I can use a little pick-me-up. Here's a bottle. Have a nice day then. So let's go ahead and leave. And you can see, and again, we'll go over our other menus here shortly. My suspicion level did not change. But if you do get caught, again, you don't lose or anything. It just, your suspicion level raises and they kick you out of the room. Also, keep in mind, anyone can catch you. So anyone knows if you're in an area you shouldn't be in. So you can't just rummage through somebody else's room while they're staring at you. So let's go over the menu here real fast here. You got your inventory. Right now, we got a gyro really early on. This is so if you get lost, this will show you how to get to your mission, your next mission. I actually didn't need to use this much. There was only one time where I was really like, where do I go? But it was only because I missed a door somehow completely. But otherwise, it is nice to have so that you know where to go. But the layouts, except for like one floor later on, that are pretty easy to navigate. But yeah, this is your inventory. Again, it shows it shows you how much money you have, your tools, any key cards, that kind of thing. This will show you your main quest, which is at the top. And this will show you all the side quests or side missions. For example, this guy, the shorter guy, he wanted the color camera. And if we find it, we can give it to him for something. He didn't say what, but he will supposedly give us something. And this shows us, again, any other side quests that you pick up. And again, there's suspicion level and the time. Not really a big deal on the time thing there. Investigation. Now, there's 4 suspects. We've only met the one. But as we talk to them and find items that are related to them, this will update. So it's easier for you to keep up with it. One thing I really like is if you, for example, open a diary or something that has a reference to them or something they wrote, something like that, there'll be a button down here so that you can click it and read it again. You don't have to try to remember what it was or dig through a bunch of windows to try to find it, or even like put the book in your inventory and then figure out, wait, which book was this person related to? It's all listed under here, which is really nice because, again, it lets you kind of double back and read up on the stuff you found so you can kind of update, okay, who do I think is the most suspicious person? Who do I think has done this terrible thing? So the next is the map. I didn't really need to use this a whole lot, but these are the 4 different decks. You have deck A, deck B, the crew deck, and the cargo deck. Again, it's pretty self-evident. It doesn't show you where you are currently, which is maybe the only thing I would change on it. Other than that, very easy to read. So this is just your general options, report bug feedback. This is in beta currently. I don't know if that's going to go away when it goes live, but that is where it's at now. So what is my current quest, just out of curiosity? Let's go ahead and talk to the doctor, and that's probably going to be the last thing that we do. Do know that, there is, as I mentioned before, there are stealth elements where you will need to sneak around to get around guards. Sometimes the items that you picked, the tools that you get, rather, will help you with that. Like, you might be able to find a way around them instead of having to sneak around. But again, the stealth is pretty forgiving, and if a guard catches you, it's usually pretty easy to lose them. So those of you who are kind of put off by stealth elements, understand that they're very stealth light in this game. You don't have to be like, a perfect stealther to make it through this game. And again, even when you get caught, the consequences are not necessarily dire. It's not like you can't deal with them in most cases. But let's go ahead and talk to the good doctor here. You are unwell, yes? Let's see. I've never felt better. Then leave me to my work and stop wasting my time. Why would I believe your time is valuable? I deserve your trust. I was the first doctor considered for this position. You don't sound very pleasant. You have my apologies. This position is one of great stress, but it's not the fault of the passengers. You can keep your apologies. Actually, let's be nice. No problem. It's happened to the best of us. Thank you for your kindness. This job is enough to drive a man mad. Mad Dr. Borovic, they must call me. I'm sorry, what's your name? Just a fellow passenger on the ship. Such secrecy you keep. You're not unlike that aristocrat Boyle in that way. Now, please leave me to my work. We'll ask about this. What is making you stressed? It's frustrating to have met the majority of the passengers because of the same inane symptoms. What kind of symptoms? The passengers complain that they are cold and nauseous and lightheaded. Some even find themselves having difficulty thinking or moving. It's unsettling. I've noticed the temperature gradually decreasing in the past hour or so. Exacerbate, is that spelled right? Probably. Exacerbating the symptoms. But quite a number of passengers began complaining much earlier, merely a day into our journey. I too have noticed these symptoms in myself. It's getting to your head as well. It's hard to say. Perhaps the higher altitude has something to do with it. It seems a bit more difficult to breathe since our ascent. Is there such a thing as flying sickness? I recall hearing about similar symptoms experienced by mountain climbers. What's going to happen to the passengers? We will not know of any long-term effects until they arise. There are theories I had intended to explore in hopes of alleviating the symptoms, but the captain has forbidden any more conversations concerning the subject. Perhaps I am being punished by the universe for attempting to control The intricacies of the human body. I like your sarcasm. It is far from sarcasm. There are great forces in this universe. The forces that we should allow to decide our fates are the same ones that detest such blasphemous treks through the heavens. I don't believe in your superstitious beliefs. Superstitions are for the mad. How dare you belittle my belief? It all sounds mad to me. We have nothing to speak of, you and I. But such a conversation must be for another time. Was there something else you wish to speak of? We'll say nothing for now. And again, this is typically where you would ask him a bunch of questions about the sabotage and kind of learn about the sickness that's going on with the passengers, possibly offer him a drink. And keeping in mind, you've only, especially early on, you only have so many drinks. So you might want to offer the drinks to people that you think might have more relevant information than just offering them willy-nilly. You can also, again, read things that'll tell you when there's a suspect, there's a clue that should be helping you key in on who done it, etc. Things like this. Again, you'll explore all of that later on. And I do apologize for being vague, but again, this is, a big part of this game is investigating, who is the one who did this sabotage. And it's done in such a way that it does make it difficult for you to go, oh, well, I know who did it. That you think and then all of a sudden you're like, maybe it's not that person. So I find it's very, very interesting. It's not like a lot of other games like this, like an investigation, where you like learn more and more, and it's like by the end you're like, oh, it's 100% this person did it. By the end, I was kind of like, I was like, okay, two people are highly, highly suspicious and have an equal chance of being the ones who done it, right? So yeah, I like that aspect. And then even then, I felt like at least one of the other ones would not surprise me if they did it either. So I think it did a good job in that regard. This game also does a good job of first of all, giving people different reasons for being suspect. And also tackles some other interesting issues as well. Again, I'm going to be very vague, and I apologize about that. Things I definitely was not expecting when I played this game. But I have to say, I have quite enjoyed it so far. The only thing that bothers me a little bit is that because my understanding, again, is that the things that you say and do kind of affect who did it. Like that kind of takes away a little bit of it. Like if it was randomly generated, or not even randomly generated, set up so that, okay, one person did actually 100% do it. You just have to find out who that is. And it's just very difficult to figure it out. That would be one thing. But if it does kind of change who did it based on, what your findings are, that's a little bit, because it's kind of like, well, no matter what, I kind of influence who did it, right? Does that make sense? And again, that's just if my understanding of how that works is correct, and I might not be. But regardless, it was still definitely a quite enjoyable experience. I like games like that where you kind of investigate like a crime investigation type thing. I like that kind of thing, so I did really enjoy looking into it and trying to piece together things. And I kept thinking in my brain, okay, if I said this thing differently to this person, how would they have reacted? Like I was actually curious about what other information I might have found out, or oh man, if I'd picked this other tool, then I could get in this other area that I can't access. So did a good job of that. But anyway, that's enough rambling for now. Thank you guys for watching my Let's Try of Karaski, What Goes Up. Again, all relevant links to their website and the green light and all that will be in the links below. Again, at the time of this posting, the green light is not available. But again, the developer has said he will notify me as soon as it's up, so I will update the link as well. And if you want to make sure to find out when that becomes available, I would sign up for their newsletter on their website. I'd imagine that they will send out notifications as soon as that is available. Another real quick, let's go ahead and look at the general settings that we have. I think I right-clicked on accident there. You can control the mouse sensitivity X and Y axes, which I found interesting. You can invert the mouse Y axis if you're one of those weird people. Joystick sensitivity, so I guess you can use a controller. Like I said, I didn't really try it. Oh, yes, you definitely can. You definitely can, because it says that during the thing. It says press X or press Y. So, yes, you can use a controller. Field of view. You can actually go pretty crazy with the field of view. I actually pumped it up at first, and I was like, whoa, okay, I can't handle that. Like, I didn't go this crazy, but even a little bit, I was like, okay, wow, this is too much. But it is there if you want to do it, which is good. Field of view is good. Change the brightness, head bob, screen shake. This is the how much head bob you've got. You can also control the music. You can control the global, the music, the sound effects, and the ambience. I really like when games separate that. I like that a lot, actually. You can enable the plot clue indicators that we saw at the top right. They had like the magnifying glass. And stylized dialogue font. I'm not quite sure what that means, but those are your options. It also hits you with the options, the graphical options when you first start the game for resolution and graphical settings, things of that nature, are at the beginning when you first run the game. But anyway, again, that is Karaski, What Goes Up. Make sure you guys leave comments in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought of this game and this video covering it. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to leave those in the comments as well, and I'll try to answer as best as I can. If you'd like to see more videos like this covering games you may not have heard of, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, and I will see you next time.